Presenting our third award of the evening will be Dr. Jack Goldstone. Dr. Goldstone is the Virginia E. and John T. Hazel Professor of Public Policy at George Mason University and a non-resident senior fellow at the Brookings Institution. Dr. Goldstone has worked extensively on forecasting global conflict and terrorism, and with the U.S. Agency for International Development and the World Bank on providing democracy assistance to fragile states. His current research focuses on conditions for building democracy and stability in developing nations, the impact of population change on the global economy and international security, and the cultural origins of modern economic growth. Dr. Goldstone is an advisory board member of the Rumi Forum and a life member of the Council on Foreign Relations. He also serves on the advisory board of the Council's Center for Preventative Action. Please welcome Dr. Goldstone.
Well, everyone, distinguished guests, notable awardees, and friends of Rumi, it's a great pleasure to be here, but also a bit bittersweet because I have to say thank you and goodbye. I am moving in January to start a new Institute for Public Policy at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. So I'm going halfway around the world, but when I go, I hope to carry on the work of Rumi of bringing understanding across nations, cultures, and civilizations. I have to say, it's been an extraordinary pleasure to be involved with Rumi at a time when there's so much conflict in the world, to be part of an organization that in all of its activities promotes tolerance and peace through mutual understanding has been refreshing. More than that, I've basked in the warmth of Rumi. Let me say to Emre, Jana, Mehmet, all my friends at Rumi and friends of Rumi, it's wonderful to be in your circle of friendship, so thank you for that. But my real privilege tonight is to tell you about the extraordinary career of our other extraordinary commitment to public service winner, Nobel laureate Jerry White. Now, I'll go briefly through his career. Jerry's the executive co-chair for Global Covenant Partners. He's known for his high-impact campaigns, 3 of which led to international treaties. He shares in the 1997 Nobel Prize for Peace, awarded to the International Campaign to Ban Landmines. In that project, he worked with the late Princess Diana and then King Hussein and Queen Noor of Jordan to address the humanitarian crisis caused by tens of millions of mines buried in over 80 countries. And for the past 3 years, Jerry has served in government as the U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, launching the Bureau of Conflict and Stabilization Operations created by Secretary Hillary Clinton. Now, what is not in your written bio, but I find particularly inspiring, is that Jerry himself experienced a landmine close-up, in fact, lost his leg to that mine. And yet, instead of slowing him down, it seemed to have sped up his steps. It lit a fire in him to serve and find solutions for problems and to help survivors of war and landmines throughout the world. He's also a senior Ashoka Fellow and has worked with hundreds of young leaders from over 60 countries. He served as executive co-chair of the Abraham Park Initiative with founder William Ury, and for 10 years was assistant director of the Wisconsin Project on Nuclear Arms Control, and also reporter-editor of Risk Report, a database tracking the sales of technologies used to build weapons of mass destruction. His founding of the Landmine Survivors Network, and later the Survivor Corps, pioneered techniques for rehabilitation and provided tens of thousands of survivors with peer mentors, artificial limbs, job training, and most of all, inspiration to continue to move ahead and succeed in their lives. It is a great pleasure on behalf of Rumi Forum to honor you with the 2015 Peace and Dialogue Extraordinary Commitment to Public Service Award. Jerry, please come up to the stage.
Thank you very much. I think you were also probably exhausted by all that activity that was just listed in my bio. I think one of the things that I'm in search of is Rumi and true and deeper peace, not necessarily all the activity that keeps me so busy. So I feel actually very humbled to be here. I had thought, like, do you accept awards? Like, what's your position on awards? But the word Rumi is so tempting and so lovely. And the reason why I spent all this time, as you heard, doing a lot of activities, and then I escaped Washington with my lovely wife, Kelly, and daughter Quincy's here, and I have 3 other children. And Washington was so intense that I thought, let's just give it all away, sell and move after 20 plus years, and go to Malta and have the best midlife crisis in the world of just meditating and learning Vipassana insight and swimming and learning to breathe again. And then I thought I'd extend that midlife crisis and then go study theology, which I'd studied as an undergrad, and then studied at Cambridge. And that actually brings me to a connection with Rumi, which was the other 13th century wonder of Saint Bonaventure, who was also a mystic, Catholic theologian, who took over the Franciscans and wrote the biography and really the legends of St. Francis. So I went deep. The soul's journey into God is by Bonaventure. And so I don't know, I don't have any answers. I actually didn't suddenly have enlightenment, but I did calm down by being in the Mediterranean and Cambridge and taking some time out. And then I got this phone call randomly while I was studying biblical Hebrew to come and serve my country. And I had never worked in government, and I thought I never would. But there was something about the lineup, President Obama, Hillary Clinton, Ambassador Rick Barton, and the invitation to do something entrepreneurial in government. I thought this, I guess you say yes. And I had the privilege of working with Rashad Hussein here, and many of you have served. And I want to say thank you, because I didn't realize how hard it was and how often you're criticized in Washington for working around the clock in service. So once again, although I had been all Zen Jerry, Rumi Jerry in Malta, I came back to Washington. And the ego came forth. So I have the opposite problem of Ambassador McDonald, who was able to put it behind him. I feel I rage with ego. I wear it, I smell it, it's all around me. And going inside this bureaucracy of competitive testosterone and ego cult, it came back just like a sip of workaholism. And so I was back in it, thought I had cured that old Jerry, but in fact, my ego still raged. I was still as competitive and angry as usual. And I am mad. So the other thing I feel bad about is if you have an International Day of Peace, one day a year, I feel that 364 days a year are conflict days. I'm fighting and fighting, I'm angry, whether it's landmines that maim people, or the violence against women, or this interreligious attack of killing in the name of God. These are awful and dark things. And so when you're able to bring the light, even like Tasula, a person from Cyprus here, a refugee, who now chases down and watches cultural crime to make sure that we stop the destruction of our heritage, our sacred heritage and culture in the name of God, as well as stop the killing in the name of God, just people and places being destroyed. So I'm back to hurting and being angry and praying that I could be more like Rumi. and have the collective wisdom of all of you in this room that all of us are connected and one. So when I think of the poem of Rumi, and I dedicate it to you, it says, be with those who help your being. That's you. That's us. Be with those who help your being. Don't sit with indifferent people whose breath comes cold out of their mouths. Not these visible forms. Your work, our work, is deeper. A chunk of dirt thrown in the air breaks to pieces. If you don't try to fly, and so break yourself apart, you will be broken open by death when it's too late for all you could become. So I love the idea of being with those who help my being, you all, but it's also to help each other and to break ourselves open in service. I mean, truth be told, I was an awful diplomat, like awful. I don't know if I'm a peace builder. In all my days, I'm still find it a mystery to be fully whole and full and juicy like a piece of peaceful fruit. So I'm still striving. I draw my inspiration from Rumi and from all of you or anyone at the Rumi Forum who stands for that fullness, wholeness, shalom. So thank you so much. I'm honored and slightly embarrassed, but it's a great meal, and I think the Global Covenant, which is a new project I'm trying to sort of blow sort of on the embers of, is about a good dinner party like this in an Abrahamic way. Mix it up. From journalists to private sector to social sector, the best parties are mixed up and diverse and interesting, and it's going to take all types, all of us, to address and bring healing to this terrible surge and growth in religion-related violence around the world, the fastest growing social hostility and violence that we're witnessing today, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop very soon. So sorry to go on so long. I'm passionate. If I went on longer, I'd start to heat up, but I want to say lovely Rumi Forum, and thank you, and to my dear wife and family as well. Thank you.